Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the August meeting of the Board of Education. Could you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So would you take the roll call, please?
William Baumgart.
Here.
Barbara Brezink.
Here.
Greg Dietz.
Here.
Amanda Roddy.
Here.
Patricia Madden.
Here.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Here.
Kurt O'Brien.
Here.
Karen Reinacek. Joseph Como.
Right. So we have two excused absences tonight, Joe Como and Karen Reinacek. Okay. Has the meeting been posted?
Yes, it has.
Okay. We have no bright lights tonight. Obviously, school's not in session. No recognitions tonight, and no report by student representatives. But we do have citizen speakers. So we are now at the section of our meeting where there is an opportunity for citizens to speak. As has been past practice, each individual is limited to 2 to 3 minutes time to speak in order for us to hear from our community and then get on to the agenda of our meeting. We will signal the speaker at 2.5 minutes in order to allow a wrap-up of their comments. We expect all speakers to honor our time limit, refrain from using any inappropriate language in any manner, and be respectful in their comments. Speakers who do not meet these expectations may be prohibited from speaking at future Board of Education meetings. We also expect that the audience will be respectful of the speaker and of the Board of Education and refrain from responding with verbal comments, cheering, applause, or other behavior that will detract from the meeting. Also, in order to respect our speakers and meeting participants, please silence your cell phones. Our first speaker will be Paul Reese. Paul?
Good evening. This late spring, early summer, I had a chance to watch a story on Einstein, his life. It was a series on, I think it was Lifetime, whatever. And there was a quote in there, when he was young, trying to get into college. I was reading from a philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, and actually someone else was quoting him to him. The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. It was a great quote. I love that quote. I love debate. I think debate is something that should discern the difference between opinion and fact and make sure that your opinions are based on fact for yourself and where they come from. I see a lot of really, if you want to talk about closed-minded opinions, they start right here, in the Bible. A lot of people's religions are very blind and they can't answer a simple question if you ask them. If you think salvation is from baptism or through baptism, show me where that is. And finding it. I believe in authority and rule and in things that are right and wrong and in their definite spot. Last month, the speaker talked about, the assault on education. I agree. There's an assault on education. Our starting points are different. I go back to about 1963 when God was removed and the pure notion that even God's existence was removed. The major assault in education. At that time, in 1963, the biggest concerns that teachers had, the top 2 concerns in surveys were chewing gum in class and running in the hallway. How far we've fallen. It has to do with authority and where it all lies. And I don't always agree with it, and I don't always like it, but it's my responsibility to follow things. And Todd Gray is our authority here, and we've hired him because we trust his opinion, and we have given him authority to delegate how this school district runs. And that's his job. And whether I like it or disagree or not, that is his position. And it is his authority. And I stand with that, and I agree with that. opportunity to speak, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board? Okay, then hearing none, then we'll move on. All right, let's begin with minute approval. We have minutes for approval are from the July 12th, 2017 regular board meeting, July 12th, 2017 executive session. Could we please have a motion to accept the minutes? Okay, Mr. Baumgart? Second by. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion? Okay, Sue, would you take the roll call, please?
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Barbara Brusink.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. We're gonna start off with communications. Superintendent.
None this evening.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm going to do a quick update on the Waukesha Education Foundation. It's here, isn't it? Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm a member, I'm the board representative to the Waukesha Education Foundation, and this is a report of our last meeting. Recently, the Waukesha Education Foundation received a check for $11,310.56 from the estate of former WEF Board President Sally Michalko. Sally dedicated over 30 years to teaching first grade and 7 years as the elementary social studies department chairperson in Waukesha. The Sally Jo Michalko Grant Fund was established with her memorial donations, and this legacy gift will be added to the fund named in her memory. The WEF Lifetime Excellence in Education Award has also been named in Sally Jo Michalko's honor, remembering her service to the community, working as an advocate and ambassador for numerous community and professional endeavors, and for her leadership positions for WEF and Waukesha's Plowshare Fair Trade Marketplace located in downtown Waukesha on Main Street. At the July board meeting, WEF elected 3 new WEF board members. They are Paula Condon, Nick Ansay, and Spencer Dominguez to 3-year terms. Also, Garrett Chesky, a Les Paul Middle School reading specialist, will be joining the WEF board as a teacher representative and a non-voting member of the board. The 11th annual WEF golf outing will be held on Tuesday, September 26th at Western Lakes Golf Course. So we are looking forward to a great day of golf and networking with local business and community leaders. We invite you to join us for golf or just for dinner. The dinner program includes a live auction and guest auctioneer, Mayor Sean Riley. So mark your calendars. Please try to attend, participate. If you don't golf, come for dinner. Tuesday, September 26th at Western Lakes Golf Course. To register, please go to WEF Golf Outing at golfgenius.com. There has been a date change for the 2018 Celebration of Excellence in the School District of Waukesha. The new date is Sunday, February 18th. The COE will be held from 1 to 4 p.m. at South High School in the Fieldhouse. More details will be shared in the upcoming months. And that concludes my report. Okay, moving forward then, we'll have Safety Committee report. Amanda Roddy.
Thank you. The Safety Committee met this morning at the service building. The first item of business was the student and staff accident reports, which were reviewed. The second item was review of the old business. There was a brief discussion and follow-up regarding the no dog signs at each district location. Some locations will need new signs, and Lindholm will also be getting a sign as well. It was noted that all fire drills were successfully completed this last year, which they were very proud of. Now, the next item was new business. Joe Cook came and gave the committee our annual update to the School District of Waukesha's Emergency Operation and Crisis Response Plan. And the next item was to announce that September is School Safety Month. So each school will be doing one drill a week, such as the fire, tornado, lockdown, et cetera. So the schools will be working on that. And then the committee wanted to express their thanks to the rest of the board for their continual support and the work that they need to complete there. And with that, it concludes my report.
I have a question, Amanda. The dog rule or pet rule, does that mean that, you won't have pet days in schools anymore?
According to the policy, it is that when the principal can approve a special event like that.
Yes.
But my understanding of the policy is that it is more so during drop-off and pickup time, having pets on the playgrounds and standing around waiting for the children to get out.
Okay, understandable.
That's where it's applied. But with principal approval, then special activities can be had.
Okay, great, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for your report. Charter school and program report, Mr. Baumgarten.
Yes. I have very little to report. As you know, things are still happening during the summer. I do want to comment on an event that a number of our staff attended as preparation for the expansion of AVID in our district. They attended the AVID 2017 Summer Institute in July to be well prepared for expanding this wonderful program. We'll be expanding it this coming year into North, East, and eAchieve. So that staff is gearing up for it, and other staff from other schools is looking forward to the future and getting their ideas in place. Key in this planning is to be certain that the AVID program is woven in or integrated into the systems that we have already working in our schools, as opposed to just adding it on as something else. It's going to be well integrated. We already have solid programs like SAIL and personalized learning that we don't want to diminish. Talked to Dan Kieser this morning. He and Jody, Amanda Wagner, and Luke Pinion are basically the developer, or not the developers, the steering committee, if you want to think of it that way, and I'm sure that we'll end up with a fine program. So
Great.
That's all I have to report.
Great, thank you, Mr. Baumgarten. Any questions? Okay, thank you. All right, could we have the approval of the annual expulsion resolution? Looks like that's you, Joe Cook.
Yeah, annually, the board has the option of creating a panel to conduct some expulsions. As is our past practice, we establish a panel of 3 board members to conduct expulsion hearings. The resolution in front of you ties to Wisconsin Statute 120.13, Section 1, Section E, subsection E. And it requires a vote tonight for this option to be used in the Waukesha schools. We do this every summer before the school year starts.
Yes, Mr. Baumgarten.
This is an action item, so I would be making a motion for the approval of the annual expulsion resolution as stated in the handout you have.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Patrick McCaffrey. Any questions, discussion?
I'll just make a comment, and that is, way back when, we used to have, every meeting we had all 9 board members
I know.
at an expulsion hearing, and of course, when you have 9 board members there, they all have to say something, right? You know that. So, but seriously, at that time, we decided it was quite a burden, and we went into this program, I don't know by now how many years ago it was. Do you know, did you ever look, Joe?
Long time.
The first adoption of this resolution was in 1996.
Okay, that's quite a few years ago. And it's worked very well, the way we've been doing it, and I strongly support doing it that way some more.
Thank you for that, Mr. Baumgarten. Okay, then we're going to move into,
This is an action item, Barbara.
yes, it is. Yes, Mr.
Yeah, I'd also say that, we continue to try and improve on it. It's not like it doesn't continue to get tweaked in terms of processes and procedures, but it's a very well-documented, well-organized process, so we make sure that fair due process is provided during hearings. And I think other districts have looked at what we do and see it as an option if they were heading down that path. So it's been very effective over the years.
Thank you. I would just like to add something, if I may. If, do the expulsions come through your office, Mr. Cook?
They do.
They do. You know, I think that as time goes on, it might be advantageous for us to know the outcome of the kids that we've expelled, you know, when they come back, if they come back. It would be nice to know how they've progressed. So I don't know if that's possible to do that, but just something to think about.
I would look into that, yes.
Great, thank you. Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Okay. All those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye.
Require a roll call.
We have to have a roll call. Okay, Sue?
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Barbara Brezink.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
All right, motion passes 7-0. Okay, Darren, public gifts. Do we have any gifts tonight?
Just one. Paul and Kathleen Oman donated $4,000 to Les Paul Middle School, and Northwestern Mutual Funds matched their donation. These gifts will be used to integrate technology, science, and math into the classrooms.
Great. We really appreciate all the gifts that these people give to us. Okay, your agenda includes various categories for approval. So if there's any board member who wishes to have an item set aside for separate consideration, you will have that opportunity. We have no expulsion reports tonight. As far as action, if any board member wishes to have an item set aside for separate consideration, please indicate so at this time. Okay, hearing none, then we'll move on. Pat Madden will present the consent agenda for approval.
Thank you. Earlier this evening, the Human Resources Committee approved of 8 resignations, 3 retirements, and 20 new or modified teacher contracts. The information was provided in your packet, and an addendum was placed on your desks. Mr. President, I move that the consent agenda be approved as amended.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Questions? Okay, Sue, would you take the roll call?
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Barbara Brezink.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Todd, do you have a report tonight?
Yes, I just have 2 main items tonight. Yesterday, I was fortunate to get invited to the Waukesha County CEO Roundtable, and the CEOs there were pretty much representing construction and manufacturing. And I can tell you, I think our district is well-respected for our MADE initiative that we have going, but I think we have to continue to ratchet that up. The construction CEOs mentioned that they are at 100% unemployment or 0% unemployment, if you want to call it that. But they are not filling jobs. The manufacturing companies aren't filling jobs. And when you look at the fact that we have 20 to 30% of our students each year, seniors, which is 200 to 300 students a year graduating that aren't planning on going to college, this is a great opportunity to provide some students some serious work skills that can go out and get some very good jobs. With the potential for the new company coming into the Kenosha-Racine area, there is a high level of urgency among these CEOs to make sure they have enough employees, not only to fill those particular jobs, but their jobs, because they're projecting that there will be quite a bit of building and manufacturing for satellite companies throughout the whole southeastern Wisconsin. So there is some urgency on this, and I think, again, as good as our program is, I think we can still take it to another level, both for manufacturing skills as well as construction skills. And the CEOs that were there were noting that, we can help you with equipment. Hydrothermal noted, we don't want you training kids on 30-year-old pieces of equipment. It doesn't do us any good. That's one example where they have provided us equipment for our students so that our kids are training on the same things that they're using. So the companies are out there begging to help us. The trade unions are out there begging to help us, and so I think this is a great opportunity to take that program to a next level and provide opportunity for students who don't think they want to go off to college with some skills that they can be immediately employable. Or if nothing else, participate in some of the WCTC programs for manufacturing, construction, and so on.
Before you leave that subject, I just want to make sure I didn't misunderstand something. You said they are not filling jobs. You mean they can't fill jobs?
They don't have enough people
They don't
to
have
fill
people
jobs.
to-
Yeah,
okay.
no, they've got the jobs, they don't have enough people to.
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
I just wasn't sure
yeah,
what they were
yeah,
saying. Okay,
Right.
thank
So,
you.
The second piece I have here is, I presented an article on cell phones. I think this is something that we really have to continue to address each year, cell phones in our schools. And I asked Mr. Cook to develop a specific policy just addressing cell phones in classrooms. The article here talks about some of the problems that our young people are having by being basically addicted to cell phones. My hope is that the policy, we keep these out of the classroom. We know they're a distraction. iPads can be a distraction too, but at least teachers have an ability to shut those down versus some of the apps that we use. But the other hope is we can show students that you can be productive. You can actually be productive without a cell phone in your hand for an hour or 2 or 3 or whatever. So that's our goal. Again, I hope that we can bring that forward at the next policy committee meeting. Currently, cell phones were addressed, but they were addressed as part of personal communication devices, and there was no distinguishing between a laptop, an iPad, and a cell phone. So it almost looked like cell phones are okay, and we know they're not. So that is another initiative that we'll be pursuing. Tomorrow, Joe has organized a group of, not a group, but all our administrators coming in to look at policies, and we will reiterate that this one is coming and we need to stand by it. So that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions anyone would like to ask the superintendent? Okay,
Since you asked.
yes.
Building trades, we did have a building.
Right.
And it didn't seem like there was as much interest, and
Yeah.
even when we discontinued it, finding a staff to teach it.
Right.
If there is such a demand, and I believe there is, certainly I think the building, builder should step up with funds to fund the program.
They are offering that, yes. Yeah.
And including educational
Right,
staff,
right.
if we're going to add that to our curriculum.
We have been offered that, and many of the companies said, we can bring in our technical experts to work with your teachers and your students. So we've been a little slow on adjusting to that, but I think it's a great opportunity to start. But that is a good point, and these folks have been now coming and saying, we want to help financially or with personnel, so.
Because in the past, we really didn't get,
Right,
previous
right, yeah.
administration, we didn't have these types of relationships
Always.
that we've been fostering with the MAID program. So
Yeah.
I think we're setting a direction that we can provide that
Yeah.
says you should be more active with us so that we can be more active in supplying you.
And the economy was not on our side back in 2007, 2008. I think we had a backlog of 3 houses for the building trades group, and that's a pretty big investment. But our contractors are saying, you have a limited number of students who can work on these houses, whereas if you have some trade programs within your school or partnering with Waukesha County Technical College, you can get more kids involved. So we'll listen to what they have to say and see if we can move on some of those.
Do we currently have students participating in some of these companies?
Yes, many.
That's what I
Yep,
thought.
Yep. Yeah, either directly through co-op or through the dual enrollment program with WCTC.
And they get credit for it?
They get credit, in both situations.
Great, great.
And they earn some money too.
Well, they do?
Yeah, they
That's
can earn some
great.
money.
That makes it even better. Great. Thank you, Todd. All right, let's begin with our committee reports. Policy, Mr. Baumgart.
Okay. We have another run of a number of policies to deal with tonight, but the first item is action item involving 15 policies, which we had the first reading of last month. The proposed revised policies attached that you've seen have been thoroughly prepared and reviewed by Neola's legal counsel for statutory compliance, reviewed by our administration, approved by the policy committee, and read to the board at our July 25th meeting a month ago. Just as a very brief recap, these dealt mostly with human resources things, physical exams, leaves of absence, Fair Labor Standards Acts, things like that. There was all just more or less grammatical things were being dealt with. There's a few changes, nothing that we had any disagreement over. And I checked with the committee when we met last, and there was no calls back from the rest of the board members on any issues here. So at this point, I would like to move for approval of the revisions to policies, and I will have to read these all off, so just be patient. 1460, 3160, 4160, 3120, 4120, 3124, 3140, 3161, 3430, 4430, 3431, 4431, 6700, 8605, and 9160 as they have been presented.
Okay. Is that a motion? Okay. Is there a second? Okay. Mr. Baumgart, could you just very quickly say that what some of these policies were like? We've got several policies about physical exams and,
That's what I was saying.
yeah. So you gave the numbers, but I'm wondering if we.
I also said physical exams, leaves of
Okay.
absence, family leave,
Okay,
a few other things.
okay, thank you. Okay, any discussion, Mr.?
Just to make sure I'm on the right one, I'm looking at, they have a policy number to it. The employment of professional staff? 3120? 3120 is what it's,
Wait a minute. Yeah, okay.
assume that's in the list of things because it's in that attachment. The last item, F, whereas the hiring of the teacher under this alternative license program will not displace a regularly licensed teacher in the district. That's kind of a broad statement because if you reallocate programs, I mean, a regularly licensed teacher could be a FACE teacher and we might not have demand, but you have demand for, I mean, not that we're likely to hire a teacher under this particular guideline, but it's a little bit too broad. It can be interpreted pretty broadly.
Chris, you got any comment on that?
This particular section, I believe, refers to filling positions of teachers that have practical experience but are not trained teachers. And the requirement is that we always try to hire a trained teacher, qualified and licensed by the state of Wisconsin first. So that statement is coming right out of the Department of Public Instruction guidelines and rules. So we have hired a FACE teacher that has that experience license, and we've supported that teacher when we weren't able to find a qualified IE licensed teacher in that area.
Well, I understand that, but the way it reads, and maybe it comes right out of the state guidelines, but the way it reads would be, you could broadly interpret it that if you reduce staff here and you add staff over here, that you're actually replacing a licensed teacher because you reduced your licensed teacher staff, even though it's in a completely different area, okay? So it could be interpreted that way. I'd go ahead and vote for it, but I'm just saying it's a little bit broader than what I'm comfortable with, but.
We can watch for that as we go forward to see if we get into any issues with this, but we'll take the policy.
No, the spirit of the statement has to do with hiring someone who is not certified over someone, equally qualified or more qualified candidate who has a license. So we wouldn't lay off a licensed teacher in order to hire a non-licensed teacher, and that's the spirit of that statement.
That's,
Mr. McCaffrey?
So what's the concern, like, for instance, say somebody that is a administrator in library science moving to the technology department and heading it, you mean something like that?
Well, if you read it like a lawyer would read it, it doesn't distinguish between a licensed teacher wherever they're at in the district.
Right.
And let's say you're laying off teachers and then you hire a non-licensed teacher for a specific task, it doesn't really distinguish for that. So I'm okay with voting for it, but it should have distinguished properly. I guess the state law doesn't distinguish properly that this teacher would only be hired if it was not replacing a licensed teacher qualified for the position. That would have been a better, better point. But instead, it's too broad. But it should have said, if it's not replacing a licensed teacher qualified for the position.
but if you read the whole part, beginning on the page before that, it's quite specific about what we're talking about. And this is exactly why we want to give a first reading, so you could have gotten back to us. We had a meeting in the meantime that we didn't hear any flack about it. So that's why we have first reading, second reading. But it seems perfectly clear to me.
I said I'll vote for it, but
Okay.
I can understand where it could be interpreted that way, so.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, it's an action item, so all those in favor, take a roll call, so. I'm so
Amanda
used to-
Roddy,
Aye.
Patricia Madden,
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien,
Aye.
Greg Dietz,
Aye.
William Baumgart,
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Barbara Brusink.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, no information items, but I do have discussion items regarding a number of policies that we are going to be bringing forward for approval next month. We have these grouped in a particular way. The first group I would like to present to you is revisions to policy 2271, youth options, and I'll give you the three numbers first because they're all the same adjustment. Number 5113.01, course options, and number 5421, grading. All three of these policies are being revised such that youth and course option programs will only give out weighted grades in instances where the student has previously taken the advanced placement course in that subject area and scored a 3 or higher on the AP exam, and the grading policy is being updated with the same topic. So there's quite simply a sentence that's been added to all three of these, which says youth and course option courses will be given weight for the courses in instances where the student has previously taken the AP course in that subject area and scored a 3 or higher on the AP exam. And that is the changes that have been made on those three policies. And any questions on those? Kurt?
Again, we're in this position where we're saying, AP courses and the testing isn't cheap. And you're saying that we're not going to weight it if the child should elect not to take the testing course, which is an expense to the child and the family. We don't pay for that as a district.
We don't.
Well, first of all, there are some reductions in the fee, and then depending on the situation, we may waive the fee. So there's a lot of different options for if students can't afford it to be able to take the test without a financial outlay. Again, it's a case-by-case situation, but it is.
Then I would
we do make-
suggest that we put in the policy something about financial support to be considered by the district.
I'll
for
have to look. I
students.
thought, the old policy I did have, I believe.
Okay, we can
something.
carry that forward.
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
I
We
mean,
can,
Yeah, I think the old policy did cover that, but maybe the new one.
It seems
isn't
like we
quite as
seem
clear.
to kind of,
Yeah.
these things need to
We-
be addressed as we
we
go through
can
this.
clarify that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Why do we charge a fee Do we have to
Well,
pay
it's
for?
the AP, we have to pay the.
You have to pay.
The college board.
Okay.
But they, in certain situations, will reduce that fee, or we can reduce that fee, or we can waive it. We'll have to pay it on behalf of the students in some cases, but we don't want a student who really wants to take an AP course, get a weighted grade with the test, to not take it because of financial
Right,
situation.
Right, thank you. Okay,
Okay, two other policies in the second grouping, policy 3210 and 4210, staff ethics for professional staff and support staff ethics. These policies currently do not have a list of specific expectations for staff regarding ethical behavior, so if you will look at the two policies, a sentence has been added that states the district has the following expectations of staff: honesty, respect, responsibility, compassion, self-discipline, perseverance, giving, and common sense. And an item near the bottom has been added as far as the professional duties and things you should not be doing or should be doing. It says refrain from sharing draft or working documents with other staff or community members until such documents are properly vetted by staff, committees, administration, board committees, or the Board of Education. And both policies are being revised to include those two statements. Any questions on those?
yes,
I just want to say that I think these additions are important to the policy, and it would be unfortunate if we're working on something and someone should be affected by what we're working on during the working process, whether it's at a district working subcommittee within the district, and then they would feel that the best way to counter what's being discussed would be to share it with the community before we're finished.
For its time, and that's
For its
exactly
time.
why this statement is in here. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So it's, and I appreciate also the opening statement about expectations that of honesty and respect and responsibility that goes across the district amongst administrators, amongst staff.
students.
Common sense is a broad word, but there are some common sense things that you can pretty much know as common sense if you're going to show respect and responsibility.
Okay? And
Okay.
then the third is a standalone policy, a new policy, number 9510. Research in our schools. This new policy specifies that educational research can be conducted but requires approval. Previously, this was not a policy, and it was, I believe, included only in the guidelines.
Right.
And we felt it was important to bring this in. And if you read it, it's a simple paragraph saying how somebody that wants to conduct some research has to go about it. All of these items were approved at the July 25th meeting, Policy Committee meeting, and are slated for approval by the full board at the September meeting. So this is a first reading on these 6 policies. And our next meeting is August 15th, which is next week.
Next week.
That completes the Policy Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgart. Okay, moving along, Technology Committee, Mr. McCaffrey.
I have no report this evening.
Okay, thank you. Finance and Facilities, Kurt O'Brien.
Thank you. I'll try to keep pace with Mr. McCaffrey. Action items, we have 2 action items today. The approval of the 2017-2018 budget for publication. The committee was presented a preliminary budget for publication. It's laying on your desk. The committee approved the 2017-18 budget for publication as presented, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2017-18 budget for publication. Okay, any discussion, questions? Okay, Sue, would you take roll call?
Amanda Roddy,
Aye.
Patricia Madden,
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Barbara Brusink.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Okay, the second was approval of a public hearing date for our preliminary budget for 2017-18. Administration has recommended September 13, 2017 as the date for the public hearing to discuss the 2017-18 preliminary budget. The committee approved September 13, 2017 as the date for the public hearing, starting at 6:30 PM in the boardroom at the Lindholm Building, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions?
That, just to be clear, that's a Wednesday, I believe. That's our Wednesday board meeting? Okay, so if this occurs, then we'll be adjusting HR probably a half hour earlier and so on to accommodate this.
Okay, thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we accept the public hearing date. Any further discussion? Okay, Sue, would you take the roll call, please?
Patricia Madden,
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Barbara Brusink.
Aye, motion passes 7-0.
Information items, we had two of them. 2016-17 budget update. The committee was presented an end-of-the-year update on the 2016-17 budget. As it stands today, it appears the district will add $2.5 million to the fund balance due to the OPEB settlement. If not for this one-time influx of revenue, the district would have ended the year in a deficit position, which is the first time in a long time that has happened. But primarily it was due to higher than expected health insurance claims. The second information item was the 2017-18 charter school draft contracts. The committee was presented the 2017-18 draft contracts for the Health Occupation Services Academy and the Waukesha Engineering Preparatory Academy. This item will be brought back for final approval in September. Discussion items, we didn't discuss much, so there were no discussion items. Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. All right, teaching and learning. Mr. McCaffrey,
Thank you,
would you
Mr.
give the report,
President.
please?
Yes, good evening. The last Teaching and Learning Committee meeting was held on August 1st, 2017 at 6 PM. There were 3 information items that appeared on the agenda and no action items. The first information item was an environmental education update. At our last meeting, Science Coordinator Eric Miller, along with Dr. Joe Pyatt and from Carroll University and Rebecca Montano from Waukesha County, updated the board members on the environmental education collaboration between the School District of Waukesha, Waukesha County, and Carroll University. We also received a reading update. Teaching and Learning Committee meeting update on reading. Elementary Learning Director Melissa Yao provided an annual report evaluating the school district's reading curriculum to the committee members. We also received a summer school update at the Teaching and Learning Committee August 1st meeting. Summer School and Data Communication Liaison, Amy Rebel, shared an overview and highlights of the 2017 summer school session, which began on June 26, 2017, and continued through July 22nd, 2017. We had no discussion items, so that concludes my report. Our next meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 5th, 2017.
Thank you, Mr. McCaffrey. Okay, moving on. Human Resources, Compensation, Pat Madden.
Thank you. We have no action items tonight. We do have a first reading of the employee handbook for support staff, first review reading of the new edition, info and discussion. This edition incorporates the newly adopted board policies, which are referenced throughout the handbook and hyperlinked to the policies on our district website. Other than this total restructuring based on policy, which in some cases replaces sections of the current handbook, minimal changes were made to the handbook. Specific changes include revision of employment categories, the addition of telecommuting agreement, replaced the health risk assessment with wellness program, added the protections from disclosure of medical information, and added health savings account, and added the 403 sub B voluntary benefit program. The official handbook, once approved, is valid online only to make available all hyperlinks and ensure the reader is using the most up-to-date version. Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Ms. Madden, are these just going to be given to the support staff, or is someone going to go over this information with the support staff?
They will look at these look at the drafts.
Yes.
Make suggestions. It'll be approved by us, and then it will be, as they're hired.
Okay. This is for new staff.
Well, and all staff will have it online,
Okay,
and the revisions there will be specific notice of the revisions that were made to the policy.
but as far as you know, there won't be any meeting or any training or going over this?
No,
No? Ms. Edstrom?
I'm sorry. There will be, in fact, we're meeting with principals tomorrow to go over policies and handbooks, and once the handbook is approved, the principals will be going through the handbook with employees and giving them a sign-off sheet for all of our existing employees.
noticed that.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Madden.
welcome.
Okay. That's the end of your report.
Yes.
Other business, do we have any recommendations for future board or committee action or discussion items? We don't need to go into executive session tonight?
We do not.
We do not, okay. We have no further business. The meeting is adjourned.